For those of you that have not had the opportunity to sort of meet us, I guess, over Zoom before, my name is Shauna, and I am so happy to work as the marketing director for Homeschool Planet. I am a mom of two homeschool kids who have both graduated. I came in and started working for Homeschool Planner at the end of my youngest junior year. So I had the opportunity to use the planner myself, both in my capacity as the marketing director and in my capacity as a homeschool mom. And then I have to introduce you. She probably needs no introduction. If you've been at Homeschool Planet for any length of time, you know exactly who Robin is. But Robin, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I'll take over on admitting people into the waiting room and then we'll go from there.
Thanks. My name's Robin. I work here at Homeschool Planet. I am a mom of six kids, five of whom are married now, which is crazy. We have had a wedding a summer for the last 4 years, one previous to that. I used Homeschool Planet as a homeschool mom for several years, and then I started working as a lesson plan author, and then I took over that, and then I've been in my current position since then. And I love my job and I love what I get to do, even though August is crazy looking.
August has been Augusting around here, you guys, and I'm sure it's the same in your home. Um, so essentially what I want to do is give just a broad overview very, very quickly, because I know you want us to get to the good stuff, which is how do I set up my new year in the planner. But for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we do this every month with our annual members. We get together, and on occasion, we have like special membership events where we bring in authors or publishers, an opportunity to connect with and talk about maybe from a homeschool perspective, what's the best way to homeschool history? What do you think are great ideas for teaching literature in your homeschool and that kind of thing? But our tried and true meetings on a monthly basis with our annual members actually look just like this. We go into a specific action that we know that you are probably taking or you are getting ready to take in your planner, or that we recommend that you take in your planner. And Robin basically takes over. You're going to be so impressed with what she's able to do. I am every single time, even 3 years later, I'm still amazed at how Robin is able to take a step back and not be the homeschool mom of six that helped develop every single thing you see in the planner, and look at it from your point of view and say, if I were brand new, or if I were new to this particular process in the planner, here's how I would go about doing it. So Robin is actually going to do that for us today. She's literally going to share her screen and walk you through in her sort of demo account of the planner what she would do if she's sitting down and getting ready to set up a brand new school year. I will be in the chat with you guys throughout. So if you have questions, even if it's about something specific that Robin's speaking about at the time, we're going to ask that you go ahead and just pop that into the chat. I keep track throughout. I'll stop her at various points along the way if it seems like we've got something that would help as she adds to the presentation for everyone, or we'll answer your questions at the end. We're excited that you're all here. And I'm going to go ahead and let Robin get started because we had a little bit of a delay this morning, and I want you guys to have as much time as you possibly can to be able to see and interact with the work that Robin's going to do in the planner. So, Robin, it's all yours.
Shauna, and as always, interrupt me anytime you want, and
You know
I
I
can
will.
forget, I can get distracted, just jump in and let me know what's going on. So I am starting with a blank calendar, but this has last year's assignments and students. So what I'm going to do first is set up my school year, and then we will also show you how to add a student and then how to add courses for those students. So I'm going to go to settings in the upper right hand corner and go to school year and vacations, and I'm just going to click add another school year. If you have previous years, it's going to pre-populate pretty similar to what you did the year before, and then you can adjust that. So you are not tied to this. I am going to set reporting periods to 2 semesters because my new fake children I have a 10th grader we're going to be scheduling for today. I'll want to record his grades by semester. Some states have different grading reporting periods, so you can set that here in reporting periods, but we'll leave that at 2. I'm going to say that our first day of school, we're going to go old school and say it's the day after Labor Day. And then I am going to end our year. I'm going to put in my vacations before I end my year because I'm going to watch this tally right here for total school days. Some of you report to reporting agencies. So your state may dictate 180 school days or 165 or different things, or it may not. You can set this however you want. We use this as a tool to help you. I am going to actually first add holidays in the United States. And what that's going to do is it's going to pop in a bunch of holidays and noted events. If you see a green check mark, it means this is a school day. And if you see a red X, it's going to mark that as not a school day. I'm going to override that by clicking right on it. And you'll see the holidays that are in bold are the holidays that it has given a day off. So it doesn't mark election day off, but it does let you know when it is. Same with daylight savings time. So I'm actually also going to make Veterans Day a school day, but I'm going to take the entire week of Thanksgiving off by just clicking Monday through Friday. If you're a first responder family or you have another schedule, you don't have to do school Monday through Friday. You can set the class days here to be anything you want. If you want to do school on Sundays, you're just going to check that box. But I'm going to keep this Monday through Friday. I'm going to go forward through the months. I'm going to see that Christmas Day is on a Friday, and I'm going to take off that entire week. And it just, you'll see this count changing as I go. And then we will leave that week off. I might give us an extra Monday since the first is a Friday. And then I'm going to go on through. I am going to give us a break in the spring as well. So I'm going to mark this week off and go forward. And now I see, okay, those are my basic days, but I'm down to 159 and I want 180. So I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to change this and see where June 4th takes me. And this is when I go, oh, maybe I should have started in August because I want to be done before this. But I'm going to stick to my day after Labor Day. I'm going to do school up through June 17th, June 18th. Now that feels like summer, but that's okay. And I've got 179, so I'm actually going to tell my kids we're doing school here. You can play with this as it works for your family. There are several other holidays for different countries and religious groups you can add at any time, and those will appear on your calendar. If there's something you do not want to see, like you live in Hawaii or Arizona and there is no daylight savings time, you can just click and that little line will go through it, and now it will not appear on your calendar. So once I have set up my school year calendar, I'm going to hit save, and then I'm back to just my blank calendar. So next I'm going to make sure my students have the proper grade for this year. So I'm going to click on my family and I'm going to go, and if I haven't already advanced my students' grades, I'm going to do that here. So I can just move them to the next grade level. So we're going to have Cole Thomas, Eliana, and Jack, who are going to be in 10th, 2nd, and we're going to make this 7th. So now I have my students. If you want to track attendance, you will go in and click the track attendance button, and it will automatically track for them for the year. If you want your students to log in, I'm going to click allow Jack to log in. If I have not entered an email, he can log in using my email address and his own password. So I could make a password of Jack, Jack, and then he would log in using my email and his password. Once I've allowed him to log in, I determine what he can either see or edit whether he can view grades, whether he can assign grades, and record the time spent if you track hours. In this case, I'm going to allow viewing only for Jack's own assignments only, as well as viewing grades, but I'm not going to grant any editing access. I'm going to take a quick breath. Shauna, is there anything you want me to cover before I move to setting up the next step? I realize
No,
I'm just talking.
no, I get it. I think you're good. We don't have any questions so far. And I think I do want to let you know we still have Zoom creating some issues with the waiting room. So I'm letting everybody know just verbally as well. Although we typically post replays for annual members only, we'll make sure that there is a replay somehow available for this event for everyone so that if you're coming in late, you're not going to miss a thing. We'll make sure that you're still able to go back and see what Robin's done in the planner so far. So yeah, Robin, go ahead, keep going.
Okay. And then I have a classes tab, which we will look at when I'm done setting up classes, where I'll see a list of the classes. And then I am going to save and close and start adding classes to my calendar. I have a school year calendar. I have students. Now all we need is some schoolwork to do. So I am going to use primarily pre-done lesson plans for the sake of time. So I'm going to go to my lesson plan library and see the different lesson plans in my account. By the way, if you are a long-time user and you have loads of lesson plans, you can archive the ones that you don't want to see. So if I click this button, like, hello, we have a few lesson plans in this. So I can just unarchive them with a single click, and I can then hide all those archived ones again. But for Jack, we're going to schedule him for the year, and we're going to start with math. And we're going to use Math UC Pre-Algebra, which is a lesson plan here. Sometimes I click on this just to give me an idea. I can see, ooh, this plan lasts 31 weeks. That's going to give me a little cush room. I like that. It's going to take about 60 minutes a day for math. That's what I'm expecting. And so then I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, apply this lesson plan. I'm going to create a new class. Now, since it is the beginning of the year, I'm going to leave this at all assignments. But let's pretend we started this curriculum last year and we're already halfway through. I can say only the assignments I select, and I can see the assignments here. I can go, ooh, we got through, let's say, lesson 10, so I want to start at week 11, day 2. You can adjust that however you like if you have partially completed work the year before. But we're going to say all assignments. We're going to give this the subject category of math. And quick disclaimer, we are strong fans of keeping your subject names brief and limited, and then using your class titles. That is for many reasons, but primarily for when you're looking at your student's profile and trying to find a class. And also because as you get to transcripts when they're older, it's going to be easier to have fewer subjects. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is Algebra 2 is not a subject, it's a class under math. So, you can set it up how you like, but we would always recommend just primary titles for your subjects and then be specific in the class. So, I'm going to go next. I'm going to assign this class only to Jack. And we're going to do math on a standard 5-day-a-week schedule. If it's a published lesson plan, it will usually tell you what the publisher recommends for that class. So it may say recommends 2 days a week. If it says recommends 2 days a week, but you want to do it 4, you can do it 4. This is a tool to help you, not to box you in to recommendations. So we're going to say 5 days. We're going to say next. I would like to include grading. It's going to say, how do you want to do this? I'm going to say yes. Homework is 75. Tests are 25. Okay. And then voila, my class is on my calendar laid out for the year. And then I'm going to say, okay, what's the next subject we're doing? I'm going to go back to my lesson plan library. I'm going to go to Lightning Literature and Composition. And once again, I'm going to hit apply. Next, all assignments. I'm going to put this under English. Next, same student. Next, this is recommended 3 days a week. I love the idea of doing this focusing 3 days a week. However, because of our activities in our family, we're going to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we're going to leave Monday and Fridays to do other events. So all I did was click these buttons and then I'm going to say, okay. And now this is on my calendar for every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I can skip through and see, perfect. There they all are. I feel like that's a weird thing I picked, but we're just going to run with
It
it.
works. It works.
Then we're going to go to our earth science class. We're going to do the same thing. So we are hopefully within about 6 minutes going to have our entire year scheduled. Now, one thing I'm going to do differently here is I don't want to do a science class with my high schooler, a separate science class with my junior high student, or I guess we say middle school now, and a separate science class with my second grader. I'm going to dump my second grader in this class. They're not going to be required to do all the assignments, but they're going to learn by what their siblings doing. So I'm going to tag this as science. But when I get here to this screen, I'm going to call it for both Jack and Eliana. And then this is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a 3 day a week class. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this be on Mondays and Fridays, since I know those are lighter days because we're not doing language arts. And then I have a dilemma because for the school days I have and the number of assignments, I can see they don't fit. Now, I can change the end date of the class to June 24th. I am not interested in doing that. Even for me, that is just way too middle of summer. I can double up so they all fit, or I can say, well, it looks like we are finishing all but 1 year of this curriculum. And while it is very not Robin to do, that's exactly what I am going to do. We're going to do what fits and we're going to call it on science because the only science class I ever loved personally was physics because it's math.
I was just going to say it's because it's math. I'm going to stop you for just a minute, Robin,
Yeah,
because I think this is also where you're going to want to answer this question.
yeah.
Can I modify a lesson plan that's intended for 31 weeks to adjust to 25 weeks instead?
Yes, and that's how you allow it to
Mhm.
double up. It's going to double or triple or whatever it is, the assignments to fit into a window. It is not going to respread them because publishers group assignments by what they recommend goes together. So that means there are going to be 2 days of assignments on a single day. Let's pretend it had 5 assignments on that day. It's not going to do one individual assignment to each day. It's going to push day 1 and 2, and it's always going to do it on the front end of the lesson plan. A, because there's more review work in the beginning, and B, because we're just big fans of do the work on the front end. You can always push it out. You can suck it back as well, but just from I tell my kids we're going to do our chores before we have our fun. We're going to do our heavy load before we get to both the bigger assignments and the more time off. Does that answer that?
Let me just see. There's so many of you here. I'm so excited. This is exactly what we wanted. And I'm desperately scrolling to find Crystal's message. Crystal, did that answer your question about modifying, that you would change the end date and how it's going to just sort of automatically populate the way Robin described? Yep, got
Okay.
it. And math rocks, by the way. That you're not the only one who believes that. So
All right. And then I'm going to click OK because I'm going to include grading. So now I have science on the calendar, and I notice that it's for both Eliana Jack and it lists it one time. For some of you, you're going to see Unit 1, Space 1, this assignment, and then you're going to see the exact same thing underneath it and wonder why it's taking up so much screen real estate. That is because I have already selected the setting under General Display to display one checkbox for shared assignments. So if I had this set to no, See how now it takes up twice as much space. Now, some people want to see the name of who has marked it off and who hasn't, and don't mind that. Other people are like, save me the screen real estate. So in that case, again, we're just going to go to settings, general display, and say one checkbox if they're shared assignments. And then I can click here and it will mark both students done at once, or I want to mark it complete for one student or another. Now, again, this class, when I chose it, I'm thinking about my student Jack, but I want to envelop Eliana into the class and see what she learns. But I might not want her to do all the assignments. Like I might know, we're not going to do labs. Actually, let's be real, labs would be the fun part for a second grader. But just for the sake of argument, I can go into her tab and look at the assignments, and I can choose one by one to remove some of the assignments, or I can also go in and use the editing tool, and I can say, hey, find me anything that is a lab. And then what it's going to do, oops, where's my containing lab? And now it's going to show me only those events that have lab, and I can very easily delete those if I want to. I'm going to set the date range I want that to cover. So I'm going to say from beginning to end, and I'm going to say delete, and it's going to say, are you sure? And I'm going to say, yes, I am. So now those assignments are no longer tagged to Eliana. They are only tagged to Jack. So when I get rid of my filtering, I'll see when I'm on the shared assignments task, those labs are present. When I am on Jack's list, those labs are present. But when I am on Eliana's, they are gone. So if you're combining classes, you can do that. And then we get the question, but what is this red exclamation point that makes me think something is wrong? That is to remind you, hey, this assignment is not in sync with all the assignments for your other students. So this tells me, hey, someone's not doing this. Great. I only have 2 students in this class, so I know who it is. But once I've made any edits or changes, I'm going to hit save and close. And now I have math, language arts, and science done. So now I'm going to circle back and I'm going to do history. And we're going to do the same thing in history that we did with science. We're going to say, hey, let's do the same curriculum with these 2 students. So we're going to create a new class. We're going to select all of them. We are going to put them under the category of social studies. We're going to give them to these 2 students. And then I'm going to see it's 5 days a week. We are going to keep it at 5 days a week for this. Then we're going to say, do we want to set up grading? Yes. And now I have math, language arts, science, and social studies for Jack. And for Eliana, I have science and social studies. Any questions before I move on to scheduling second grade for Eliana, Shauna?
There is one question about rescheduling. So do you want to hold off until you
Yeah.
get everyone scheduled and then we'll go back to it?
Yep.
Okay. I thought you
Absolutely.
might.
Because then
I
we're
thought you
going to
might.
change our mind about some days we want to do things, and we'll show you how to do that.
Or we're gonna get sick the first week of school, like
Right.
what always happened in my home for whatever reason, best laid plans. But yeah, okay.
Right.
That's the only one that's like burning a hole
Okay.
in it. There's another one for the end, but we're good.
So I'm going to go to Saxon Math. I'm going to apply this, and I'm just going to click math. Next. Eliana, next. 5 days a week. Terrific. Going to lay that out. Boop. She's already scheduled for social studies, already scheduled for science. So we're going to now do some language arts. We're going to go to all about reading, level 3 spelling. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to do, actually, we already finished a couple of these last year. So we're actually going to look at this and see where we're at. And we have finished the first 10 lessons. So I'm going to see where lesson 11 starts. That's on day 26. So I'm going to go to day 26 and you'll see this grayed out. Don't want those on this year. And I'm going to hit next. And I am going to go to language arts and I'm going to pick my student. And then I'm going to say, yeah, I don't want to do language arts with Eliana on Mondays either. So I'm going to make it 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, and click OK. Boop, and apply that. And that's right down here. And then I am going to go in and do her all about spelling, apply this lesson plan, create a new class. We are starting this one new. It is also English. I'm going to assign it to her. It is 4 days a week. I'm going to add Fridays and subtract Mondays so it matches the other language arts course. And now I have these all mapped out for 2 of my students. I have my whole school year laid out. So Shauna, the first question is, do we want me now to spend the time to map out for my 10th grader, which is going to be pretty much repeating what I've just done? Or do we want to say, yeah, actually, I only have 2 kids.
I
Let's do
think
that.
your poor 10th grader, they really wanted to homeschool, but we're going to send him on the school bus. He can go to school right now, and we'll just focus on these two just for today. Just for today.
Just for today. Okay,
Just
so
for
now
today.
I have I've gone from 6 kids to 3 to 2. My life's getting easier all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now I've been thinking about the fact that I kind of would like to not do school in the month of June. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up our start day. So I'm going to go into my school year calendar. We get this question a lot, and I'm going to say change, and I'm going to realize, ooh, I don't want my second week to be a class where I don't want to start school on a Monday and do 5 days and then 4 days. So I'm actually going to back up my classes all the way to August 27th. Or, oh gosh, not 7/27 to, I lied, to August 24th. That way I can go into the end of the year and I can change this. I'm going to put this at the 7th, so I've got some cush around things. And now I've completely changed my calendar, right? I've added days here. At the end, I've gotten rid of days, but I'm just going to call it what it is, and I'm going to hit save. And then it's going to say, hey, these classes are no longer part of your school year. What do you want to do? Do nothing. I'll change them later if I want, or adjust the class schedule, removing the non-school days. I'm actually going to choose to do nothing. Actually, yeah, I'm going to choose do nothing, and I'll show you why. Because this is what people do. They add days before their year was started, and then they go back and they expect, well, this is the first day of school. Why aren't there any assignments? Here's why there aren't assignments. Because your classes exist within your school year. So we actually used this feature and did it one year and went to Disneyland the first day of school. And I didn't want classes. But if I do want them to move, what I have to do is adjust my classes because I gave my classes a specific school date. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go change schedule, change the start or end date. And I'm going to pick because now I'm thinking maybe math we want to start right away, but we're going to leave social studies somewhere else. So when I look at August, I'm going to say here, guess what? My assignment still didn't move because I still have total control over my calendar. But if I want to fill these spots, I'm going to go more, eliminate gaps, and suck all those assignments up. And now, when I go here, I'm doing math all week. I'm also going to add math for Eliana. So I'm going to edit the course, change the schedule, change the start date in this one. We're going to again do math here. We're going to click OK. And then we're gonna select our first school day. And I always say suck those assignments up. That's probably terrible, but that's how I think of it. And then I'm going to think about what else do we want to do earlier in the year as we warm up for our family. We're going to do the same thing with language arts. We're going to change our start date. We're going to move it to the 24th of August. Yep, I understand my dates have changed. And I have a vacation day here in the middle, and I'm going to eliminate gaps in schedule to pull those up. So that's the step. I met with Abby this morning and we are making a new option. The problem is the verbiage to release, but we should look for it in about a week or I'm going to say 2 weeks because whatever engineering tells you is, well, can I say is a lie? No, it is a
They're
well.
wonderful, but they're very
I love our
optimistic.
engineers. They're my
They're
favorite humans.
optimistic. They're very
Yeah.
optimistic in terms of their timing. How about
And
that?
Cooper is incredibly particular about testing every way to Sunday, and then we still miss some way.
Mhm.
But so now I'm going to move back these classes. While I do these others, is there anything that you have a question in about this process,
Yeah,
Sean?
I think this fits here. And I do want to just let everybody know we have a couple of questions that we're holding as well for, I think, once we get past Robin's next few steps, which is about the rescheduling helper when you're in the middle of your school year, and also about backwards planning, which I think I'm going to be the one to answer. I'm excited
Yeah,
about that one.
yeah, that's a
But for
you.
right now, what if you know that you need to have a day of the week that's like a half day? Maybe it's just one day, you've got a doctor's appointment, or maybe you know that like on Wednesdays now you have regular therapy appointments in the afternoon for OT or something like that. How do you just create a Wednesday schedule that's a half day versus the rest of the week?
I kind of feel like, well, that's what I did in the first place. That's why I remember I didn't do any language arts on Mondays because I wanted to leave that as a shorter day as I was setting up my year. So there are actually a couple different approaches to that. So approach number one is that you only schedule the things you want on that day on that day. So if I know at the beginning of the year, I am going to on every Monday or every Tuesday, I'm going to have a co-op day. And so I don't want to do something on that day. Then what I'm going to do is not put a class on that day. I'm going to say, okay, either we do double math on this day or we don't do science on that day. So there's that approach, which is kind of the approach I took to setting up my calendar in the first place. But what I can also do is decide I'm going to do what we can. This would have been more my approach. I'm going to give us grace on Tuesday, but what I'm going to do is leave it fully scheduled and then check off what we do and run the rescheduling helper and let it push out what we didn't. So either look at it from the front end and simply don't put as much work on that day, or put all of it on and then push out what you're unable to complete. That's more of I think
It's a rescheduling helper question, not a planning like upfront question, but that's
yeah.
how I would have done it too. Is if I knew that every day of the week was typically the same, but there was just this one-off Wednesday afternoon appointment that we had, I would leave it, get done what we could get done, and then whatever we didn't check off, the rescheduling helper would pop up and would help me just
Right.
reschedule it for
Now,
wherever
let
I
me tell
needed
you
it to
how
go.
else we used it in our family. We had a 2 year period when we lived in Southern California that we had Disneyland passes. And I told my kids, we will go every Tuesday at noon if all your schoolwork for Tuesday is done. And they were like, okay. And then along came a week that, well, my math is done. Yeah, but the rest of your work isn't. We're not going. And I'm a very say what you mean what you say kind of mom. So there was no budging. But my kids on Monday, they're like done with their math and they're like, "Can I start tomorrow's lesson, Mom?" Oh, well, certainly. Yes, you can. And so I would let my kids work ahead and then I would not run anything or suck anything back that was done ahead because they wanted to show a full day of work on Tuesday. And as long as for me there was a full day of work, we were going to Disney.
I
And
love it.
it was, my girls still talk about it being the most fun year they remember.
I love
But
it.
prices were a lot less then, and life was a little easier. It's crazy now. Have you seen? Ooh,
No, it's ridiculous.
I remember passes were $99 a year in the beginning. But
Not
okay,
anymore.
so
It's like
next
that's more
question. What
than
is
less than
another
one
question?
day.
Do you want me to move
We
to
have, I think you should keep going with the basics of setting up the school year. And then we have a lot of one-off questions that I'm
okay.
gathering. So let's get through to like, this is a solid start to the year. And then we'll come back and start doing the individual questions because they're not specific to the process that you're doing here.
Okay. So I've set up my school year. I've added my classes. For me, I've moved back math and language arts, and we are going to have a soft start since my kids thought summer went till the day after Labor Day, and I'm gonna look it over and decide I'm happy about it. But then unless I'm not, and then I'm gonna tweak. But then I'm gonna prep some things to help me through the week. You can be the only person as the parent who logs in Homeschool Planet. You can look and you can say, Jack, you're doing lesson 7, your meeting book. Now you're doing this. And they never see Homeschool Planet. You can say, ooh, I want to print a calendar for just Jack to see. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to close. This is what he needs for this week. And I am going to economy print because I never print in color. And I am going to pull up and print him something or save it as a PDF. You can also say, I want to print it in assignment list form, which is personally what I recommend, but do what works for you. If you're an assignment list person, if it were me, I would set parameters. So I would say, let's pull this report. Let's customize it. Let's make a report called Jack and say that we want it to be, oh, this is going to be a problem because it's in the future and it's not this date yet. So everything I'm pulling is going to show as blank because we're not doing school on August 14th in my year. But I am going to say beginning of this week to end of this week. So it always, when I pull it up, the software is looking for these dates. I'm going to tell it what my school year is. I'm going to say, yep, we want to see any status. You can say, just show me incomplete things, just show me complete things if you're turning it in as a record to someone. Include notes, don't. If you're including notes, who are they visible to? I'm going to say, okay. And then there are no assignments to display because we're doing this on the 14th before our school year, but I can still save my report. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to call this Jack Weekly 2627. And I'm going to hit save. I can email it once it's in. I can customize it further. I can print it. I can close it. I just want to know if I email, who am I sending it to? Well, there might be a real person with the email Bob Test. So I'm going to type in ready made at homeschoolplanet.com. Perfect. Add that to my list of people I send to, and then I'm going to hit send. And it's going to send a copy of it to that student. Now, I could also have printed instead of emailed, and it CCs me on anything I send. But once I do that, now I've created a report. So see how at the bottom of my reports here, it says Jack Weekly. So if I'm someone who prints, now I'm just going to go in each week and I'm going to click this. It's going to auto populate with the parameters I gave it, beginning of this week to end of this week. I could do it at the end of the week if I want a report to put in a binder, if I want something. People use this lots of different ways. But if you know you're going to use something every week, I'm a big fan of setting it up ahead for
We
sure.
we do have a question
Yeah.
about printing, and this may have answered it or may have not. So I want to make sure we give you the chance to add in layers if it still is a question. How do we print out the schedule for one week that shows all the assignments on one page?
Well, it depends how many students you have and how many assignments they have. So this is this is going to print on one page very, oh, how did I just make, do you see I have yellow lines? And
That's weird. Are you marking it? That's kind of funny. I thought
no,
it was
it's
on my
on, it's,
screen.
I know it's on mine too. I don't know how I did it or what I did. But anyway, so if I have this and I want to print, yes, I want to allow print. I'm going to have to either change my orientation or I'm going to change my print size or I'm going to squish it in. Um, we get asked that a lot. I want everything to fit on one thing. Well, I have my print size set to large because I'm in video. And basically, what you see is what you get. So that is why I would recommend this same thing if I pull an assignment list and I customize to September. We're going to pick specific dates. September 21st to specific date. September 25th, everyone, everything, any status, okay. And then I look at this, it's still, it's this many students, this many individual items. So it's probably not going to fit on one page. So you can shrink, shrink, shrink in your things, but there's not anything you can do beyond that if you have multiple students, multiple assignments for a particular day. Now, that list I gave you when I used the assignment list, it might be different if I did it just for Jack. So if I went customize September 21st to specific date, September 25th, and I said, just show me Jack's stuff. And I hit OK. That's still showing me all the pieces. Now I can say, do I want to get rid of pieces? Maybe I do. Do I want to hide the notes I've added? Possibly. I like to see everything. But the reality is, the more assignments you have, the more real estate it will take up on a screen or on paper.
We are constantly having this conversation. Like, what is, because the planner can be so robust and it is able to go down to a very fine level of detail per kid in, let's say, a large family. It's hard to simplify that into one overall view. And it is the challenge, right? Because we
Right.
want the planner to be simple. We want the reporting associated with the planner to be simple and really easy to get an overview from. But we also need it to effectively help you manage your homeschool. And that usually is by child, by subject, by assignment, by date. There's all of these different views that are in play. And so, we try to give you as much flexibility as we can in terms of how you print things. And there are times where, like Robin said, it literally just isn't going to fit because the amount of information that is a part of what you're looking for is just more than a single page.
Yeah. I will say one of the things I do every, or did, my kids are grown and flown, but every year was I would get my schedule laid out. I would go down here on the bottom to assignment display everything, and I would choose none. And what that does is just show me what our basic schedule looks like,
Mhm.
what the subject is, what the class names are, who the student is. Now, I'm a big fan of not showing subject names, so I generally go in here and under display, where it says show class subjects on calendar. So look right here really quick. See how it says math and then it says math UC pre-algebra? To me, that's redundant. So I'm going to put no, do not show me class subjects and hit save. And now see it just says math UC pre-algebra. So there are things like that you can also do to reduce footprint. But what I was trying to say, and I'm always distracted, is I would take my calendar. I would again set assignments to I don't want to see any of them. I just want the broad view. And I would probably arrange them first. Like I want everyone's math listed together. So I'm going to move that. So I have just math. Then I want science to come after math. So I'm going to do that. Then this is going to make me crazy that I have a social or in language arts, a social studies, a language arts. So I'm going to move that and I'm going to say on every day. Now I'm happier because for me, this just looks more orderly now. And then I'm going to print this page. And I always had it just tacked on the fridge. I also had it. Well, this is me. So, I had it inside each student's notebook, and then I had it in my master book of documents I might want to look at when I'm, you know, doing something. Shauna knows Hope went through her school stuff. She is married, expecting a baby, and cleaning out for a nursery, and is like, am I supposed to keep all my history notebooks and all my notes? And I was like, you don't have to. Like, it's your call. She goes, I'm going to get rid of them. Then she couldn't. She said no.
I love it.
But um, next question.
You. So is there anything else big picture that you want to wrap up before we start getting into more detailed question and answer?
I think the biggest thing is your school year, your students, your classes, any reports you're going to run on a regular basis. I think the only other piece I would say is course descriptions.
Mhm.
And some people, I did them every year, even in first grade. I don't know why, but I did. And some people never do them. If you have high school students, take the time now to lay out a description for that class so you know what you're accomplishing. That'll help you look on the other side. And then those are uploaded by if you're in any particular class, or if you make a lesson plan, if you do it in the lesson plan first, it'll automatically go into the class and then go to description. So this gives a very, very Saxon's Math Toolkit continues, blah, 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 blah. I would add a description. I would probably, because this is me, personalize it. Eliana is starting second grade math. She did well in first grade math. This course will cover addition and subtraction basics, 0 through 20. Now I have no idea what I should be saying, but multiplication, blah, blah, blah. Understanding the 7 different shapes, square, triangle, circle, parallelogram, whatever it is. I write a description for each course and then I save it and it's here so that at the end of the year, I can go in and run a course description report, which will give me a report of all the descriptions for that school year. So again, not super necessary with younger kids, but I strongly recommend it. And it may be if your student's in another outside course
That's exactly what
or
I was going to say. That's
doing something like just pull theirs or pull
mhm,
the one from your curriculum,
mhm.
but upload it so you have it. So you know exactly what the specs for that class were. I would include how many days a week we did it, how much time approximately we spent. I liked that information. And then I love being able to just pull a course report, like here's our year at a snapshot.
It also is helpful if you are working with outside agencies, like if you need to show like this is what was in the course, this is what we're covering, or this is what we're anticipating covering. With mine, it was very easy to go in and look at the curriculum, take the bullet points, like the syllabus of what was in the course itself, and put it into the course description
Yeah,
there, along with any other information that I wanted to note. And then we could easily just pull it and have it all in one place for each of the courses that he was taking. And it was great for high school, right?
right.
Perfect for when we needed to provide more information for, a college acceptance or whatever it may be. It was
Right.
nice to have it all there.
Um,
Oh, someone had a great idea. Larissa, if you go to Kathy Duffy's website, you could get the course description there too, and
yeah,
just cut
that's
and
true.
paste pieces of it there. It's
Yep.
all in one place. You can sort it. It's super easy, and it
Phew.
does sound kind of academic sounding instead of you having to make it up yourself.
Yes.
Good call,
One
Larissa.
other setup thing that I always forget about because I lived in a state and so did you where we did not track hours. That
Mhm.
just wasn't a thing in California, but it definitely is in other places that part of your reporting is by hours, in which case you want to go to settings, track class hours, and tell it, hey, I want to track and report hours for my classes. And then you choose between the assignment method, where you basically give a time for each assign. They can enter this assignment took 2 minutes, 57 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever, or class. You choose your format, clock time. Clock time is text, like 30M, like, or decimal time, zero point 0.5. And if you want to set that up, I should have said, you do this before you apply all your classes, and you can choose one method as your default and then after go in and change it for a particular class. But that's going to let you track time because I didn't have it on when I started. I can still go here and say, hey, yeah, on this, we want to track by class method. I'm going to say as a default, middle school Math UC lesson, we want to set at 45 minutes a day. Now it's going to give me that time for each day. So then I can run a report to turn in or just to keep that shows me the amount of time spent in each course. So I would definitely say if you are in a state or you just have a preference to set up track hours, you can want to do that on the front end. But if you haven't, you can go back and adjust it pretty easily.
That's one thing I do want to say. Some of the questions that are coming up, I think it's good to note this. You can go back at any time and make changes to what Robin is describing, and it will basically populate backwards as well. So you can change dates, you can change the way that you're applying courses. Like you have the ability, it's not like you're setting it up for the year and then you're done and you can never touch it again. This is meant to be sort of a living, breathing apparatus that you can use in your homeschool to reflect either how you want to show the information or what the information actually is throughout the course
Yeah.
of your time homeschooling. This is amazing. While we're talking about tracking for state agencies and what we need to submit in portfolios and that kind of thing, Joelle's asking how would you best write a report based on course descriptions and all of the tasks completed? She needs to write a 35-page report on what was done in her homeschool each year.
Well, I would start with very robust and as was suggested, borrowed from Kathy Duffy, if needed. Um, Course description report is going to pull every course your student did. So if I say I need a report for Eliana for this year, I would make sure each of these, the report's going to automatically pull what's written in any tabs, and then you can add to it. So this is going to be a description for each class. I would then add my attendance sheet. So I would go to each student. Wow, I sound like the kid who has to write a 20-page paper and is padding it.
This
Yee!
is what this is. There are so many reports in here. We can get you to 35 pages, is what
Yeah, I'm
Robin's
going
saying.
to
I think that's
print my
probably the best
school
summary.
calendar that shows attendance. I'm going
You
to
could do it by
pull,
subject,
I mean, you
by
can
course.
always go into a grade report
Mhm.
and you can do summary by student, then by class. So this is like Cole Thomas, just his categories. But you can also go details by student, by class, and it's going to give you every
By
single
date.
assignment that was completed with the date they did it and the grade they received. That should give you a number of pages at the end of a school year for a
Easily,
student.
easily 35.
And I mean, and if it needs to be in paragraph form, honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a PDF. I'm going to dump it in chat and I'm going to say, Write me a 35-page report using my course description, my grade report, and my attendance report that is a clear and articulate summary of our school year. Please make it 35 pages and make me sound amazing as a homeschool mom.
I love it. Okay, what do you think about forcing a rescheduling helper? Just so we can show everyone, like you've got the best laid plans, everything's going, you get to your second week of school and the wheels come off the bus and you miss a few days of school and now you feel like you're behind in your schedule.
Well, let me do something else first that will
Okay.
mimic the same thing.
Okay.
Let's decide we are taking the week of September 14th off school. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to mark off this entire week as now as vacation days. Now, because I know I'm taking a full week off and I'm not going to want to double up, I am at the same. Now, if I'm removing a vacation from somewhere else and my days are going to end up even, I'm in the clear. But I know that I've scheduled my classes to go from beginning to end. So if I'm taking off a full week and I don't want anything doubled up, then I need to move my end date. Does that make sense? So I've just added for 7 days. I added a week on the end and I'm scheduling this week off here in September. And then I'm going to hit save. And it's going to say the scheduled dates for the assignments listed below are no longer part of the school year. What you want to do? So my options are carry forward to the nearest class date and leave the rest of the schedule alone. What that means is it will take this assignment, it will go to the next school day, which is probably going to be Monday, September 21st, if I can add 7 correctly. But the assignment for the 21st is going to stay there. So on the 21st, I'm going to have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So then I'm going to log in and see this giant old list of assignments on the 21st. But maybe I'm chill with that. And I would rather do that than have to push out. And we're just going to go as we go. Or I can say, carry forward to the nearest class day and shift the schedule by a day. So you're shifting it by 1 day for each day you're taking off. That's what I want to do. And that is why I added those days on the end of my school year. So when I hit here, now I'm going to click OK, and it's going to say, hey, on this one. So people ask about this. It depends what days your classes are. We just had a ticket where someone basically took 2 days off and added 2 days, and they wanted to know why it wasn't even. Well, they took off to Monday, or they took off 2 Fridays and added 2 Mondays, but they didn't do school on Mondays. So even though it seemed like a one-to-one swap counting number of school days, it was not because they had particular classes on certain days. So this says these assignments will become unscheduled if you continue. You may want to extend the class end date or add more days before rescheduling. Show me how. I'm just going to edit the class and I'm going to say, hey, I always just add more than I need. And then I am going to go back to my school year and I am going to see, okay, I have my 108. We should be in the, oh, I didn't need to go back. It's right in front of me. Good grief. This is no longer a week of school. I have school the week before it. I have school, no school, and then I have school again. And so if I spot check, I go from lesson 3 is on the 11th. Lesson 4 is on the 21st. Does that make sense? So that's basically the same thing, except that with the rescheduling helper, you have other options to mark complete. One of the big questions we get asked is, I haven't marked assignments complete for the last 2 weeks. I don't want to reschedule them. I also don't want to sit here and go click, 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 click. To mark them as complete, all you do is run the rescheduling helper and say mark as complete. Let me throw a class on the calendar for what is today? Today
The
is
14th.
the 14th. That is insanity.
I know.
I'm going to add a class. I'm going to call it art. I'm going to say art test. I'm going to assign it to Cole, and then I'm going to give it lessons so that I actually have something on the calendar. I'm gonna just back this up so it only runs to here. Lesson one, add my 63 days. It knows how many days assignments to add looking at my start and end date. It's tracking time, you'll see automatically because I did that. Did I not add them? Did I give it to a person?
I have no idea.
I have no idea
I'm over
either.
here in the
But do you
chat.
want to know how I'm going to check and see?
Do it.
Art test. Oh, because I set it to start August 24th on the first day of school because that's the default. So let's change the schedule since I'm purposefully trying to start something for today and make the start date be the 10th. Then I'm going to go here, 10th. I'm going to eliminate gaps. By the way, what I just did to find this, the easiest way to find classes is just to go, if you're looking for a class, you can absolutely go on the calendar. You can also just go to your Manage Family and you'll see a clickable list of links for each course. But here's my class, my white X's on red circles tell me these assignments are late. So now I can actually run the rescheduling helper because I have something late. Reschedule overdue assignments only. That means things that should have happened. That's why it's showing me this Monday through Thursday. Reschedule overdue and today, or reschedule, you're just picking a random day and making it off. So I'm going to say overdue, and then I get this host of things. Oh, it's pulling everything. So let's look at just school year. Here, let's go no earlier than beginning of this week and end of this week. Don't I have, oh, I'm not looking for, oh, these aren't in a school year. Here we go. So when I limited it to a school year, so you notice nothing showed up. I'm like, wait, why is there nothing there? Because I said only look in my school years, but these assignments are outside a school year. But option one, I don't want to deal with it right now, is basically what that says. Ask me next time, leave it alone. So we're going to pick that on Monday. Never show this one again, meaning it didn't get done. I don't ever want you to bring it up in the rescheduling helper. We're just leaving it on the calendar marked as undone forever. The green line, mark it as complete. It's done. Yay, make a little check mark. Red line, delete this. Just eradicate it from my schedule. I never want to see it again. Carry forward and leave the rest of the schedule alone. That's what we were talking about a minute ago. Move this one forward, but stack it on the next days, or shift forward and adjust the rest. So push, each day's out so we have it done. So those are your different options. In this case, I am going to shift, and then you'll see I still see the class, but now lesson one is today. And that is because I chose overdue only, not overdue and today. If I were instead to choose overdue and today, and we go just to this week's, not our backlog of things from the last demo I did, beginning of this week to not end of next week, end of this week. Okay. Now, if I choose this, it will move this and it's going to say, hey, when do you want to do this? Do you want to do it tomorrow? Are you trying to catch up here? Or do you want it on the next regularly scheduled class day? And I'm going to say, yeah, do it to the next regularly scheduled school day. And now my whole week is clear. Does that make sense?
It does.
What
Got to see
else
it
do you
live and
have
in
for
action.
questions?
So there are a few questions that have to do that I don't think we're going to answer today because they're almost like a whole nother meeting that I know we've done with the annual members, which is creating your own lesson plans, how to do that, and that type of thing. We already have resources available for that. And it is a good reason why we want to encourage you guys to become annual members if you're not, because annual members have this type of interaction with Robin every single month. We also have an annual member private page that has every replay of everything we've ever done. So you can go back and see when we talked about creating your own lesson plans, when we talked about creating transcripts and wrapping up your school year and putting together a portfolio, or what reports are available for kind of closing things out before you head into summer. How do you set up a summer schedule? Like, it's all in there. We do this every single month with annual members. There's one question that is about backwards planning that I think I should answer just
You
because
answer.
it's
Do you
I'm
want me to stop sharing or do you want me to do
no,
what you
you can
say?
no, you don't. I think
Or
I
are
can
you just
answer
going to
this.
talk?
I think I can just talk because I don't think you
Perfect.
need to see this in the planner to understand the concept of backwards planning. And then let me just say this though, because I got ahead of myself because I was really excited to share all the fun stuff that we do with annual members. For those of you that asked about creating your own lesson plans, I'm going to craft an email that has all the resources available associated with that that will point you to what you need. I'll send it out probably within the next week. And then you'll have that there. If for some reason anyone has any questions like this at any time, though, as you're using your planner, you're also welcome to reach out to customer support at Homeschool Planet. They're very busy right now with back to school as everyone is setting up their planners. I will put that out there, but these are the types of questions where we don't want you to be stuck. And if you need help, we welcome you reaching out to us and asking the question. We also have our user guide, which is a way for you to find out for yourself. Our user guide has videos that will walk you through each of these questions and will give you, you can search it for exactly what you're looking for. You could search it with a lot of the things that you've put in the chat and that will pop up. That's available all the time, 24 hours a day, anytime you need it, it's there for you. And oftentimes we'll take you to videos of Robin herself, just walking you through in a planner exactly what the answer to your question is.
Can I also say our Facebook user group,
It's so
those are
true.
some amazing people. There are a couple in particular people who like I see people put questions in, how do I and like responses. So, it's a great resource.
We got a lot of people out there helping us make sure that we get everyone's questions answered one way or
Yeah.
another. Let's put it that way. All right, let's talk about backwards planning.
Yeah.
So I am, as much as I am and was a dedicated, committed, hardworking homeschool mom, I had different circumstances in my homeschool that oftentimes meant we were a little looser and a little less planful ahead of time in order to accomplish what we needed to accomplish. I had two children with very unique learning needs and also random schedules because of medical needs and that kind of thing. And so most of the time, I needed to have some sort of version of backwards planning along with my regular planning to make sure that I captured everything. So, backwards planning is kind of a weird way of saying not planning. It's mostly capturing what you did throughout the course of the day based on either your child's interests. If you take a very strong interest led learning approach, unschoolers typically take this type of approach to documentation. You kind of just get to the end of your day and you say, what did we accomplish today? And you make a record of it. That's the idea behind backwards planning. And it is one of the reasons why I loved using Homeschool Planet, because the way that I approached backwards planning, let me say this, you could totally use Homeschool Planet as a backwards planner. You wouldn't apply lesson plans. You wouldn't need to set up anything specific other than like your school year to make sure you're meeting your state requirements. And that's it. And then you basically go through and you use it as a journal each day. Here, we did this, we did this, we did this. And you literally can just add in as you go what it is that you accomplished. It's not as elegant that way. It doesn't give you as much freedom in terms of the way that you use it for grading or for reporting at the end of the year or whatever it may be, but it has the ability to do that. Like you can use it in that way. What actually worked best for me, however, was kind of creating a hybrid where I would craft out our school year the way Robin just described, and I would do it with just the most essential things. So the planner ahead of time became, we used to call it like the minimum viable day in your homeschool. It was like the basic things that I knew I wanted us to accomplish every single day or every single week in my homeschool. I would plan that out exactly as Robin described. And then as things arose throughout the course of the day, I would go back and add them in. Does that answer your question about backwards planning in a way that makes sense, but doesn't require us to actually dig into the planner itself? If you're a backwards planner, you're already used to being flexible and figuring things out as you go. And so what I just want to encourage you is that Homeschool Planet can help you put some structure around something that is very unstructured, because it's taken a lot of the guesswork out for you. You would just be approaching it from a very different perspective than what we've talked about today. How do we get into the Facebook group? I'm not a paid annual member.
You don't have to be. It's not even for annual. You have to have, so we do limit it to you've at least had a free trial. And every time we violated that, we've ended up like gutted with spam. So we are very strict that if you haven't at least opened a free trial, I'm not letting you in the user group because my people don't need to see things they don't need to see.
Okay.
But just Homeschool Planet user group, it's searchable. You can find it, but you have to apply and agree to our rules. Be kind, be considerate.
Mhm.
Don't bash people. And share with us, which everyone doesn't see, just we do, the email you used for Homeschool Planet. And then we will do that. And we will let you in and you'll get to interact with other people. I see it would be great to have a
Yep.
community. Yeah, it would, except every single one we've looked into has eventually crashed and burned, and then there's a mess to clean up. So it's an
We're not
interesting,
opposed to it, but we don't know how to pull it off without putting all of that information at risk. Let's put it that way. But
yeah.
we've got to figure that. Actually, the world needs to figure that
I
out.
do want to answer really fast because it's so easy, even though you said watch the replay. If you
Okay, go
want
ahead.
to apply this lesson plan and you started it a while back, all you're going to do when you, because someone asked about in the past, and we have
Hmm.
people who come in February and say, but I want everything listed we did from August till now. All you're going to do is instead of next school year, click some other dates. And I can say, I want to start using this lesson plan in January. I can go back as far as I want. Apply this for my school year that was 24-25. So start it here and then run it through that year ended, whatever the dates are next. So you can apply things to the past. We have had one member who we saw apply lesson plans for like the next 8 years. It was kind of bizarre, but they like had their whole
That's more planful than even Robin. That's beyond my brain. That wouldn't work for me.
yeah.
Stephanie says she's been an annual member for maybe 6 years, and it's great. It is
Nice.
great, you guys. We love it. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to welcome everyone into the sneak peek. Now, for those of you that are annual members, can I give them a teaser
Yeah.
of what's coming for their lesson plans?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I am personally so excited about this. We've
Well,
been
this is
pushing
your
it.
baby.
This is my baby. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. We have put together a time management for kids lesson plan and unit study, and an executive function for teens lesson plan and unit study that's going to be available as part of our Homeschool Planet exclusives. And annual members are getting it free next month, both. So time management for kids runs basically up to about maybe sixth, seventh, eighth grade, depending on your kid and how practiced they are with their own time management skills. And then executive function starts kind of preteen, middle school, and goes up through high school. It's got really practical activities. It's what I did with my own children to help strengthen their um, time management skills and executive function abilities. It's particularly good for kids who struggle in those areas, obviously, and kind of breaks down how to help them step by step, kind of use that muscle in their day-to-day life and in their day-to-day academics. But I think it's good for all kids. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited for you guys to see it. It's just around the corner. Those we're going to give both away for free to annual members next month. If you're not an annual member, we certainly invite you to join us. If not, those will also be available for purchase. So we're not gatekeeping them. You'll have access to them. It just won't be part of the free membership package that we have for annual members. All right, let me just double check. Here's what I owe you guys. I will somehow figure out how to get this replay in a place where we can send it to all of you. It's very difficult to send videos now through email, not because of us, but because of the way email servers are. We'll probably have to upload this to a private link and then just send the link like with a button on the email so that you guys can click out and watch it. And we'll just send it to everyone. We wanted everyone to get a chance to see what this is like. So we'll give everyone a chance to see what it's like in the replay. Annual members, though, you will still have this in the annual member area along with all of your other replays. So you can reference this at any time without having to do anything extra. And then I'm also going to send an email with resources for creating your own lesson plans, since that's not something that we were able to get to today. That's one of the most fun things I think about this planner is that you, as much as I love having the integrated lesson plans and how simple it is when you click that button and it just goes and goes across all the way. Obviously, I'm someone that just wrote an executive function study and a time management for kids study. I liked creating my own lessons. And so the way that we can do that and use it in our plans in our homeschool planner is one of the biggest benefits I think we have here at Homeschool Planet. That is exactly what we're talking about, Jenny. So if you have a curriculum that isn't one of our integrated partners that we don't have access to for you to just click a button and apply, there are very simple ways that you can basically create your own lesson plan for that curriculum within the Homeschool Planet planner. That also applies for when you're doing extras, right? Like if you were kind of pulling together your own unit study about the ocean or something, and you wanted to plan out a regular set of lessons associated with it, that is easy to do. And thank you, Stephanie. I totally agree. Stephanie says it's very simple, super user-friendly to make your own lesson plan. Don't be intimidated. We certainly make it easier for you when it's integrated because it is like clicking a button, but it isn't difficult to do. And it's actually, for me, it was kind of nice because again, it gave me some structure. I feel like the lesson planner helped me make sure that I was being planful when I was pulling together something that wasn't a fully fleshed out curriculum. And if you already have a curriculum that we just don't happen to have lesson plans for, it's even easier. So,
well, we had no plug-in plans for the first long time. And I loved making my plans, but that's me. But the assignment generator, you can, have a recurring schedule. You can say, I'm reading a book that's 817 pages and we have 18 days, break it up and it'll do 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 do. The assignment generator Joe wrote is beautiful.
It's fantastic. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around with us, even though we got a late start with all of our Zoom nonsense. Oh, we've got another one. I'm gonna read it so that we've got it in the replay. Thank you for today. I'm setting up year 2 for my kids and learn some new details that will help. I'm so glad. Well, I have different documentation for my 12th grader. I'm looking forward to using Homeschool Planet's course description function for my 9th grader and his sister in 9th for the full 4 years. Can't wait to add the executive functioning plan for my 9th grader especially. Thank you for that. I can't wait for you to have it. I'm so excited. All right, guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of what we know are your very busy days. Annual members, be on the lookout for your annual member benefits for September. Everyone will get you the replay and some additional information for creating your own lessons in the planner. And we will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.